everyone. It's almost time to go live. I'm going to grab my phone to make sure, in case somebody wants to message me like, hey Nancy, we can't see your face. I'm hoping that everything is okay, that you can see me, and where I've got the position, or the tablet position, I haven't cut my face off. It's kind of awkward when you do that. So, all right. So Quilters World, you can message me. I have Messenger open on my phone, so if I need to do anything, just let me know. And otherwise, we will get started really soon. So I'm going to let some people come online, and I'll wait for a few minutes, and then I will get started. In the meantime, I'm going to play with fabric, because, you know, we all love to do that. So I can actually see myself in a mirror that's across the room. That's kind of awkward. All right, so I want to welcome you guys. It's almost there. It's almost noon, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently. I'm going to go ahead and get my strips in color order while we wait for noon to arrive. I wish I could actually talk to you guys as you come on. It's kind of fun talking to other quilters around the world, so to speak, around our nation. Love to hear where people are from. All right, almost through here. This is to the other piece, and let's do this. And while we're waiting, I know it's going to be awkward, but I'm going to walk over here, so I'm going to leave the camera for a second. Got to grab something, put it on the table. So just hang tight. Hi guys. Thanks, whoever said that. Who said I look fabulous? Janet did. Hi Janet. I'll be back on the camera in just a second. I'm really thirsty. Had to grab a drink. Okay. Whew. All right. So, yeah, as everybody, as you chime in, as you join our live event, be sure to let us know where you're from. I love hearing where people are from. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about this bright, fun quilt today. And, well, maybe this one. Just 'cause I can. So I just love this quilt. I love this fabric, actually. All right, I wish I could see the comments, but I can't see the comments. So whoever's monitoring from Quilters World, if you can comment through Messenger to me, I can see it on my phone. But I can't, the way I've got the tablet, I'm not in selfie mode, because otherwise you can't see it. My selfie mode on my tablet isn't as good as regular video filming mode. So, all right, it is noon. It's official. It is now noon. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. I'm glad you're here. Maybe you're eating lunch. Hey, maybe you're just waking up. Who knows? So my quilt, Lollipop Dreams, so bright and colorful, all made out of solids, except for my binding. Let's come this way so you can see the binding. Oh, oops. There we go. So I made my binding out of a striped fabric, and the back is really cool. All right, I'm going to pull the back up so you can see that. It's just wild fabric. It's all polka dots. It reminded me, that fabric reminded me of fabric that it was called candy dots, I think is what they were when I was a kid. That was a long time ago. And so when I saw it in a local quilt shop, I had to pick it up because I knew it would make the perfect backing for this. And I think I actually used several different color waves of that fabric line, because that was like an orange and pinkish type colors. And then I've got the green. I think I have silver. What can I say? I collect fabric. All right, let's see. All right, thanks, Kelsey. All right, so today we're going to talk about my Lollipop Dreams block. Now I want to tell you about the inspiration from this block. I saw this block, the actual candy part of the block, on Pinterest, but it was like a really small block, and I thought, oh my gosh, that reminds me of like those big giant swirly lollipops when I was a kid, or that you can get at like theme parks or carnivals and stuff. So I played around in my software. I use Electric Quilt, and I came up with this, playing around with it, and I thought, you know, this would be perfect for any kid, grandkid, child, a younger, even so, anybody who loves candy, as a matter of fact. So what I did, oh, I thought I had my ladder's fallen. Hold on just a second, I kicked it. Okay, you have to stay put, no moving. So I decided, once I designed the quilt, that I also wanted to put the fun border around it. And if you can't see the border, it's a checkerboard border. And here comes the cat. I think he's about to jump up. Maybe not. Oh, there he is. This is Mr. Bruce Kitty. He's my buddy. Yes, he's a good boy. All right, I've got his spot where he normally jumps to kind of filled with things. So you're going to have to move, buddy. Yes, I know. He's a good kitty, though. He's very affectionate and loves pretty much anything quilting. If I lay a quilt up here, he sits on it. Just like that. So I'm going to get him off. Come on, babes. You got to get off. There we go. Good boy. He's going to go look out the window. All right. So the stick of the lollipop is made up of a strip set right here. So the easiest part about this is cutting your strips. But let me give you a little tip right now, because these strips are narrow and we're going to be cutting on the bias. You know, that's the stretchy part of the fabric. You want to go and prepare your fabric with your favorite spray starch. You don't have to like spray too much on it, just enough to hold it so that when you cut it and during preparation, handling time, it'll stay nice and firm. So once you spray your starch on your strips, step back, let the starch soak into the fabric, and then wait like 30 seconds. It doesn't really take long. Just maybe fiddle with something else while you wait. And then you take your iron and you gently press. Now hold on a second. Now I'm not going to touch my cutting mat because my iron is still hot, but you would press, pick up, and press, pick up, and press. Don't scoot the iron along, because what happens is the starch, if you're pushing the iron along, the starch will act as water and stretch out the fabric. It'll kind of distort it a little bit. That's why you need to wait, and you press, pick up, move the iron, press, pick up, and then you continue down your little strips there. And then they will be nice, and you don't want to make them like cardboard, you know, that kind of stiff. You just want to give them enough so that you can handle them and they don't start doing the wave. Okay, so now let's get our fabrics in order that you want for your lollipop stick. Now I have mine here. I'm going to pull mine down on the table, and I'm assuming you can see them. So I'm going to start with a green. You can start with whatever color you want to. And place my first one here, and then you take a white. So it's every other one is going to be a white, and every other one is going to be one of your colors. So you're going to take the white and you're going to offset it. You're going to right sides together. You're going to offset it about 1 inch. Now I've got the selvage here. Let me cut the selvage off. There we go. So I'm going to offset it about 1 inch from the top. And then you're going to sew your 1/4 inch seam. The cat's in the room. He just knocked something off. So once you sew your 1/4 inch seam, you're going to flip it open and then press. Don't wait to press them after you join all of them. Press them as you go. Once you sew the white one on, you're going to repeat the process. You're going to bring it down about 1 inch with your next color and go right sides together and sew. So it's going to look like this. Let me move these so that you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So you can see how I have everything. And you know what? The starch also helps because when you're handling all the strips and you're sewing, you're joining them, you're sewing them, they can start to warp because it's a strip set and you're sewing basically in the same direction. So if you have spray starched your fabric before, that will prevent your strip set from warping, and they will start to like do funky stuff, and you don't want that. Okay, so you can see all my uneven edges here. So our next step is we need to get a 45-degree line. Now if you find that hard using your ruler, here's a little trick that I did. I took a 45-degree ruler and I placed it upside down because I'm not using it for cutting. I'm using it to get a 45-degree line. So I take the bottom of the ruler and I have the 45-degree and I'm moving it closer and closer and closer to the edge so that I'm getting all the fabric underneath the ruler. Now if I keep it here, I'm going to miss this piece and this piece. So I'm going to pull it further down this way and I'm just watching as I go along. And then if I take this ruler, whoops, let's move these, and I can butt up the two against each other. Now I can see that I'm going to be able to cut all of the fabric and get the 45-degree together. So I'm going to keep scooching this along and keep that bottom. There we go. That's a good spot right there. So now I can take this ruler away and I can use my rotary cutter, and now I can get a nice clean 45-degree angle. And this, well, it's cute, but I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to throw it in the garbage bowl. There we go. Okay, the next step is you're going to cut these instead of 1.5, which is what we cut all of our strips at. We're going to cut them at 1.25. Why would I do that? Because it gives a different angle than using the 1.5 inch mark. So we're going to take our ruler and we're going to line up our 1.25 on that. This is a bias edge now, it's exposed. That sounds funny to say that. Okay, so I've got it all lined up, and now I can cut my strip just like that, and you can continue cutting all the way down. So the next step, I'm just going to remove this. There we go. Isn't that pretty? The next step is to find your 6 1/8 by 12.5 inch D squares. You're going to decide, well, you're going to play with it for a minute. You need to decide which colors you want in here. So if I'm going to take the right hand side one first. I'm going to bring it all the way down here to the tip of the green, right there. I'm going to actually raise it up just a little bit because the tip of the orange is right here, and I'm trying to prevent having an extra seam allowance right here. It's not any big deal to have that. It's okay, but it just makes it a little easier when you're piecing them. So I'm going to raise these up just like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right sides together with the right hand side D block or D rectangle. We're going to line them. Now I don't have my sewing machine over here, I'm sorry. It's on the other side of the room. And we're going to join that. And then once you join that and press towards your D square, your next step will be you're going to have to trim using the lines or the edges of your D square. Line it up with your ruler and trim the top and trim the bottom down here. That way you can line up the left side easily and sew it, and your stick to your lollipop is done. So that's how easy it is to create your lollipop stick. Aren't they cute? Okay, I have one more thing for you. I hope that this kind of helps you out. In the Lollipop Dreams block, all of our half square triangles that are on the outside, you can apply this tip to any pattern that requires you to make half square triangles where, let's say the half square triangle needs to be 3.5 inches unfinished, but they start with a 4-inch square. Let me grab my ruler. So what I have here, you may or may not be able to see this. I've already drawn the diagonal line. I have two 4-inch squares. Okay, I have my dark and I have a light. So I've drawn my diagonal line and I've sewn my 1/4 inch on either side. Well, hi again. How are you? I didn't see you sneak up. Why don't you go look at the birds or something outside the window? He wants to take a nap, and he usually takes a nap on me. Here, let's put you on my other quilt. Here we go. There. Can you just stay there? Can you go to sleep right there? No, you don't need to play with that. Okay, sorry about that. He really likes attention. Okay, where was I? So, again, I have my two 4-inch squares. My line is drawn on one diagonal from corner to corner, and I have my seams, or excuse me, my stitches, 1/4 inch on either side of that line. So a lot of patterns will say for this size to cut 3 7/8, or if you're doing a 2.5 inch unfinished half square triangle, they'll say 2 7/8. But if you're one of those people that you like to up the size just because not everybody can sew perfectly, and that's okay, try this technique. Go ahead and up your size 1/8 or 1/4 inch depending on what you need, but then refer back to the original size that they told you in the pattern to cut. For example, this one might have said, I honestly don't remember if I said cut 4 inches. I could probably look because it's right here. I like to upsize and then downsize them. What did I say to do? I said 4 inches, I think. Yes, I did. Good. So if I would have told you to cut 3 7/8, we would take our square. Now we know that that needs to be 3 7/8 from the original pattern, so that it would be, or the original size, so that it would be 3.5 unfinished. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to place the 3 7/8 inch marks, registration marks, on my ruler, align my diagonal seam up with the one I've already drawn. Now I'm going to cut this side and this side. Okay? So now we have that. Okay? So it still looks the same, right? It still looks like a square that I've drawn a line on with, and I've stitched on either side of the line. Now we're going to cut on that diagonal line that I drew, and now your half square triangles are 3.5 inches. So I'd have to press that to make that happen. There we go. Couldn't get it to roll. But now they're 3.5 inches, and it's not going to show because I can't press it. I think my iron is still. Let's see if my iron has some heat to it. Ooh, it does. Yes. Okay. So here we go. Spot on, 3.5. Yes. All right. So let's redo that one again. Let's say you have to cut, your pattern calls for a 2 7/8 inch light and a dark square to make your half square triangles. Okay? Instead of cutting it at 2 7/8, up it to 3 inches. Go ahead, draw the diagonal line, so a 1/4 inch on either side. After you sew that 1/4 inch, then go back to the original size it was supposed to be. Align that 2 7/8 inch in the bottom corner with the diagonal from your ruler aligned with the diagonal line that you drew. Cut on two sides. Then rotate the block so that you can cut on the drawn line, separate them, press, and they should be 2.5 inches unfinished. Apply the same principle to 3.5 inch, 4.5, 5.5 inch, all unfinished half square triangle sizes. It works. Isn't that cool? So I eliminated a step with that one. All right, so let's see what time it is. Am I doing okay with time? Ah, okay, it's only like 12:17. So in the Lollipop Dreams quilt, you can use what I just told you, that little trick. You can use it for your corner half square triangles in all of the blocks. Now, this quilt right here, this is my Fall Into quilt, and it's in another publication with Annie's, and you can do the same thing with some of these half square triangles when you read the pattern. So you can apply that to probably any pattern if you remember it. Any pattern that uses that size. So now maybe if they call for like a 2 3/8 and you up it to 2.5 and you draw the diagonal line and sew on either side, then you're going to go back to the original size that it said, 2 1/8, and align that measurement up in the bottom left hand corner, and then do your trimming. So now let's go back to our strip that we were talking about, just in case there's people that are joining late. What you want to do, prepare your fabric first. When you're pressing your fabric, use spray starch. So you're going to just mist it. Don't do it really heavily. We just want enough to where it gives it a little bit of stiffness, so that you can handle it, and when sewing your strips together to make the strip set, it won't warp. Spray the starch, step back for 30 seconds so that the starch can soak into the fabric. The next step is to then take your iron and you're going to press, pick up, press, pick up, and press. Go all the way down your fabric like that. And also, if you need to, if you forgot and you need to do the same thing on your strip set, you didn't prepare your fabric first, it's not the end of the world. It'll all be okay. But you can still use the same principle. Just don't push the iron around, because that's what will warp the fabric strip. All right, so now let's do that cutting thing that I showed you a second ago for those people who were just signing in. Now this is the rough side, and this is not a good 45, so I don't want you to think it is. Let's get those two rulers out. I'm going to take, I have a large ruler. Now if you have a smaller ruler that has the 45, use it. If it's got this nice angle, use it. It will work. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to align the bottom of the ruler where you have the corner, or the 90 degrees, and you're going to line it up with your bottom strip. Then take your long ruler, or a larger ruler, you're going to line it up, and the trick is, I'm going to pull this down a little bit further. The trick is to make sure that you get all of your strip set underneath the first cut. That is extremely important. All right, so I'm going to line this one up. Make sure okay, once I get it all set, I'm going to hold this in place, and now I'm going to hold my strip cutting ruler in place. I'm going to remove this, and now I can cut the 45. Nice, nice, nice. And then your next step will be to take, and you're going to cut your 1 1/4 inch strips to make the lollipop stick. So align the 1 1/4 on that raw bias edge. Now if you've prepped your fabric, it should be nice and stiff, not real stiff. You just need it there to hold it. You don't have to make it like it's, could stand up on its own. And then you're going to take your ruler, put your hand on it, and if you can't, put your pinky on the outside of the ruler to help hold it in place, and then cut. And there you go. So there is another one of our Lollipop sticks. And where, oh, here they are. So, again, for those of you who are just joining in, you're going to need your 2D rectangles. And so, if you're wondering, because we cut these strips at 1.5 originally, and then for the bias or the stick cut, we cut it at 1 1/4. That allows it to have like a different angle. Like, I just thought it was cooler that way. So that's why I did 1 1/4 instead of 1 1/2. So you're going to join. I joined the right side first, and I would take and I would raise my rectangle up this way or bring it down this way to try to get different colors throughout. I'm trying to find one. Now this one right here, only a little bit of the blue shows, and I was happy with that. I wasn't trying to make it so that each stick had the exact same color showing through. I was just trying to mix it up to make it, you know, give it a little bit of variety. So as you can see, I used all solids with this quilt. I thought it was perfect, and the binding, the binding is a striped fabric. So I used all the colors that I could find that matched that binding to, let's see if you can see it. Maybe you're just tuning in and you didn't get to see the binding. So it's a striped binding. Fun, fun, fun. I love it, love it, love it. This quilt was so fun to make. So, all right, everybody, you can find me. I've been working with Annie's for over 10 years. I have lots of tutorials, over 130 tutorials with Creative Studio, which is Annie's Creative Studio. I have full online classes with them, and I also have patterns with their that you can buy out of the catalog now. Yay! They just are putting those in probably the next catalog that they send out in the mail. You'll see my patterns. So this quilt made the cover of autumn quilts for autumn. I love this quilt. And if you're wondering what fabric this is the uncorked line. I think it's by Wyndham, I think. And these, of course, were all solids. So, so pretty. Love it, love it, love it. All right, it is time to get moving because it's lunchtime and my husband's upstairs waiting for lunch. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed seeing Mr. Kitty. He's over here to my right, sound asleep on a project, when you know it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and you can find me on Facebook at Nancy McNally Quilts. I also have a group. It's Sew Anyways with Nancy McNally, and that's S-E-W, Sew Anyways. And you can find other information on my website, nancymcnallyquilts.com, and make sure you find us and like us with all of Annie's crafts. Love, love, love. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye.